Good evening. I am Mark Sforzini. I'm going to try that again, this time with my microphone unmuted. Hello, all you opera cats and gattini dolci. Welcome to Facebook Live at Monday Night Opera. Looks like we're going to be here for every Monday night in May, and who knows about June. So I think we need to make this a really comfortable thing. I invite you to get out your favorite beverage. I've got myself a nice glass of red wine, and the production staff has made for me a delicious plate of cheese and berries. I've got some blackberries here. I've got some smoked Gouda cheese. I've got another cheese here. I'm not sure what it is, but it's really good. And I've got some Triscuits. So if I don't remember to unmute my mic or I get my transitions mixed up on this broadcasting software, I can always reach over here and just have a nice little Triscuit. So I am here to talk to you tonight about St. Pete Opera's 2017 production of the opera Faust by Charles Gounod. And I have to tell you, this putting on this opera was just a real highlight of my career. The music is magnificent, and I'm in love with our cast. I was in love with our cast preparing for this show. I fell in love with the cast all over again. Tonight we're going to have a special guest. Our special guest tonight is Branch Fields. Branch will be joining me a little bit later. He plays Mephistopheles in Faust, the devil role. And our stage director for the production of Faust was Carl W. Hesser. Carl has stage directed many of our spectacular shows at St. Pete Opera. And also I want to give credits to the rest of our fabulous production team. The Scenic Design was done by Warren Sott. Scenic Design was done by Warren Sott. The costume design was done by... Let me make those pictures go away. Here we go. Okay. Costume design was by Glenn Breed. Wardrobe Witchery. They've done a lot of costumes for our show. Lighting design by Keith Arsenault. Keith has done over 40 of our shows at St. Pete Opera. He's been with me a very, very long time. Wig and makeup by Maggie Caudill. And the fight director, David Granke. And our choreographer for this production was Andrea Wright. So I'm really excited about our upcoming guest, but a couple of things first. I want to introduce to you the principal cast for the opera Faust. People ask how I got the singers, and we have auditions every season. So most of these singers auditioned for me at some point and got hired to come sing at St. Pete Opera. Faust, the title role, played by Samuel Hall. Faust is the old man who makes a deal with Mephistopheles, the devil, to become a young man. Mephistopheles, played by Branch Fields. Faust's love interest is the young woman, Marguerite, played by Stéphanie Lézard. She came from Canada to sing with us. And Marguerite's brother, a soldier, Valentin, played by César Silvagnoli. A youth in the town in love with Marguerite, Siebo, played by Nian Wang. That's a pants role. That's where a woman plays the part of a young man. And a young man student, Wagner, played by Philip Bullock. So that is our principal cast. Oh, I forgot there. Marta Svertlein. She was the nosy, gossipy neighbor, and she was played by Sohoko Timpone. So that was our cast, and again, it was just a great pleasure to work with this cast, and you can see the full production of Faust at 7 p.m. tonight. It will be showing on YouTube. You can find that link on the St. Pete Opera homepage, stpeteopera.org. But I want to give you a few special insights about the production. So I have prepared a montage of several little clips from the opera. I want to tell you about the scenic design and things like the lighting and the projections we used and the dancing and choreography and the fight scenes and the orchestra and all of this kind of stuff. So I thought it would be fun to do that for just a few minutes. So I'm going to start this montage. And with my new software, I'm going to do my best to do a voiceover. So let's find out how it works. Let's just have a sip of this delicious red wine before we start. I always feel like I'm better after one glass of red wine. All right, cheers to opera. All right, so, one of the things about Faust is a really big show. Faust, as our stage director says, it's a really big show with a lot of scenes, and figuring out how to do that at the Palladium is tricky. But I think Warren Sott, our scenic designer, and Carl Hesser, the stage director, they came up with this wonderful unit set. You can see it there. Multiple levels to that unit set, and part of what helped us change the scenes were the projections on the cyclorama in the back. So right now you can see a projection of a bunch of library books. That's because we are in Faust study. There's the old man Faust coming down the steps. Of course, this is the very beginning of the opera before Faust has made a deal with Mephistopheles to get his youth back. Here's Faust right before he drinks the potion that's going to transform him into a young man. He's seeing the beautiful image of Marguerite on the stage left upper platform there. He drinks the potion, and our stage director conceived that rather than going off stage for a transition to be a young man, we would actually see the devil's two assistants, I call them minions, the devil's minions come on and facilitate the magical transfer of Faust to a young man. There's Sam Hall, transformed from an old man to a young man. Now here we are in the village, so you can see the scene has changed on the cyc in the back. And rather than being a super realistic portrait, the images were more impressionistic. This is a very tricky chorus passage, and the men and women of our chorus did a great job singing it. You can see them gearing up for a maypole dance. Look how sweet and innocent this dancing style looks. I wanted you to note it because in a moment we're going to see the villagers dance after they're starting to come under the control of the devil. So that's the maypole dancing style. Andrea Wright, the choreographer for the dancing. Now this is Marguerite's brother. He's a soldier, Valentin, and he's singing an aria. I put this clip in here because I wanted to say what a pleasure it is to work with the singers at St. Pete Opera. People ask, is it hard to keep the orchestra and the singers together? The orchestra is, of course, at the Palladium behind the singers. We are actually behind that brick wall. And the singers see me through 3 monitors that are in the house. But it really takes a great collaboration between the artist and myself. We rehearse for about 3.5 weeks before opening night, and we develop an interpretation that we agree with. And I think there's just a lot of it's just very, from my perspective, it's a very pleasurable working relationship. I feel like we achieved some excellent ensemble between the voices and the orchestra. This is Nian Wang. She plays the youth, Siebo, in love with Marguerite. We've changed the scene to the garden at night, so you can see the moon there in the background, and now there's flowers and greenery and trellising on the set. So I think this was a really nice way to accomplish the garden scene. Again, I felt like I had wonderful coordination with Nian from behind this brick wall. Marguerite, Stéphanie Lézard. Interesting thing about the role of Marguerite, she has to sing 2 arias back to back in this show. This is the first one. This is the second one, the famous Jewel song. I find the writing for Marguerite lies in the middle register and the upper middle register. So at the auditions, I was really looking for a singer who had beautiful colors in that register, because we hear Marguerite so much in this register, and I found that in Stéphanie. I really love the color of her voice and her musicianship. Flawless ensemble, and I can't take all the credit for that. The singers really have to participate in watching the monitor and helping create a well-honed musical product. I put this scene in because it shows a different side of Mephistopheles. Carl Hesser, our stage director, would talk about how the devil couldn't just be sinister and evil all the time, especially in this French version of Faust. He really uses his charm and wit a lot of the time to get what he wants. So this is an example of Mephistopheles being charming with Marta, the nosy, gossipy neighbor there. Brilliant stage reactions by Sohoko Timpone. And now watch the moon change. The devil's invocation here, casting a shadow over Marguerite and Faust. Nice work, Keith Arsenault with the lighting, and Zach Twitty and Christopher Spadafora, who helped with the projections as well. This is the big fight scene that our fight choreographer Dan Granke staged. There's always some flashy high notes before a big fight, and you had them right there. Here we go. We're not going to watch the whole thing. You can see the whole thing later on the broadcast. I love the clanking of the swords, though. You can hear the metal clanking here. And now we're in the church. Again, you can see how that's accomplished using the cyclorama in the back with the stained glass image. Mephistopheles first appears as an important religious figure there. You can hear an organ playing. The organ was played by Michel Rigaud. That is the actual pipe organ at the Palladium Theater. It's not a digital keyboard. It's always fun when we can use the real pipe organ at the Palladium in the scores that call for it. And here come the devil's minions. They're going to transform him into his true identity. And there you have it, a few insights on the production and how we accomplished scenically a really big show like Faust in the Palladium Theater. Again, kudos to everybody on the production team, but I think Warren Sott's Scenic Design with Carl Hesser's vision as stage director, that unit set worked out great, and the projections and lighting work that Keith Arsenault did, and there was some assistance there with the choice of projections and the manipulation of them with Zach Twitty and Christopher Spadafora, and the choreography, Andrea Wright, and the fight choreography, Dan Granke and Maggie Caudell, wigs and makeup. I think really production team did a great job making the show look good. So it's time for our special guest. And our special guest tonight is Branch Fields. He played the role of Mephistopheles. So I am going to see if I can bring Branch. Like magic. There's Branch. Good evening. How are you, Branch?
How are you?
I am wonderful. I had a little false start on the show. I forgot to unmute my mic, but somebody alerted me. So,
We're all getting used to this new new reality here, aren't we?
You just start over.
Yeah.
So so good of you to join me tonight. First, tell me where you're hanging out during this COVID-19 crisis and who you're hanging out with.
Well, I am hanging out in Williamsburg, Virginia, in our little neighborhood. It's a beautiful little neighborhood, sort of woodsy. We have a lake, and there's a marina that goes out to the York River. And there's a beautiful park. So it's really not a bad place to quarantine yourself. And I'm here with my family. Just my 3 kids are all home. And my oldest son was at William & Mary in his freshman year. But they shut the school down and he came home. But that's only 10 minutes away. So William & Mary is right in Williamsburg. So we are all home and just one big happy family here.
Well, the role of Faust was not your first time at St. Pete Opera. Tell our listeners your history with the company, because you've done quite a variety of roles at St. Pete Opera.
Yes, it was great. That year, I did 3 productions. Faust was the first, and then came back for the Magic Flute. I was the speaker and second priest, which are often combined in a production. And then came back for the Music Man, and I was Olin Britt, the bass in the Barbershop Quartet. And that was quite a thrill. All of those roles were they were all so different, but they were all a thrill in their own way.
The Barbershop Quartet was phenomenal. I wish I had the foresight to pull up a short little clip of that, because tell us about that. Like, when you came from Music Man and you were the bass, how were rehearsals different for being the bass in a Barbershop Quartet than, say, being the speaker in Magic Flute?
Yes, very different, because it is all about ensemble in a Barbershop Quartet, and just fine-tuning both the pitch and how you are singing the words. Each syllable, each consonant, each vowel had to be exactly the same with these 3 other gentlemen that I was in the quartet with, all of whom were excellent singers, thanks to you. Great casting again. And so we just had a blast. It was difficult. It was very difficult putting it together. But the payoff was this incredible sound, this magical phenomenon of music. That the overtones that you get when 4 voices blend perfectly, and we got that a lot, and it was thrilling.
It really was. Well, your work here and all of your roles has been just exceptional. It's a pleasure to work with you. Mephistopheles is a role you've done before you came to St. Pete Opera. Is that correct?
It is. I was hired by Irene Dallas at the Opera San Jose to come in and sing Faust. That was in 2011, I believe. So I had it under my in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Well, that's still 6 years in between. I mean, you probably had to brush it up a little bit, I'm guessing.
I did, but it's always a pleasure. The role is so well written and just perfect for a bass. It stretches you both high and low, but I just sank my teeth into it and loved it.
Yeah. Now, have you sung with opera companies where the orchestra's behind you before?
I'm trying to think. I think there might have been one other, but no, that's pretty rare.
So not too often. So
no.
What was that experience like? And I was explaining to the people listening earlier too that we also had that those brick walls between us.
Right. Well, you just have to pay attention to the camera, and having that synced up where it's in real time is very important and hard to do. But as long as we watched you on the camera, everything went fine. But we did have to practice some entrances, right?
Yeah.
Because we had to coordinate a lot of things, but it all ended up going pretty well.
I felt like we had a really good collaboration on the music and how we wanted to interpret it.
Yeah, I did too.
Now, you did the production in 2011, and then you came here and did the production in 2017. Were there differences in how the stage director wanted you to approach the character?
Slight differences. Actually, Brad and Carl, Brad, I forget his last name, over at San Jose. I think he was an assistant director at San Francisco Opera. But Brad and Carl had actually very similar takes on Mephistopheles. It's all laid out in the score pretty clearly, so I think there's a pretty clear direction
Yeah.
for Mephistopheles.
Well, I've excerpted the Golden Calf aria, so we're gonna bring in the Golden Calf aria here, and I'm gonna say a few things on top of it that I want to point out to the listeners. They will have a chance to hear this without any voiceover if they tune into the show at 7, which I hope everybody does. So let's take a look at the lead-in to the Golden Calf and the Golden Calf with branch fields. Here we go. So here comes Mephistopheles into the village, and I remember Carl Hesser talking to me about how when an evil force like a vampire or a demon comes to your house, the mythology is if you invite the evil force into your house, then you are allowing yourself to be subject to its power. So the unsuspecting villagers are welcoming the devil into their village without quite realizing who he is at this point. Branch is singing to Philip Bullock, a student Wagner. Nice shot there with the village in the background. And Satan leads the dance. Now you can see the devil's minions there, Daniel Johnson and Alessandra Romniron, and they are sort of helping the devil cast a spell on the village. There's the devil's minion, Daniel, and you can see Alessandra on the upper stage left platform. And they are working the devil's magic on the villagers who invited the devil into the village. And now you will see that gradually the villagers will start to dance, and it's a dance with more abandon, a bit of possession, as opposed to the maypole dance you saw earlier. Yep. Great aria, Branch. Wonderfully sung. Yeah, and I was explaining to the audience how your two minions were weaving their way through the villagers, sort of casting your spell upon the villagers, who then began to dance with greater abandon and a sense of being more possessed than the more simple maypole dance they did at the beginning of the scene.
Oh, I was so thankful for those dancers because I can't dance at all. But they added a lot to, as like you say, my little demons moving out and working my curse upon them and working all my spells. I thought they portrayed that really well.
And we started the show tonight. The preview music was your Invocation, where you cast the shadows to Marguerite and Faust, and the moon turned from white to red.
Yeah, the lighting was amazing, and I didn't even know that was happening behind me because I'd never been out in the audience. But when I saw the video of it, I was amazed. I was very impressed.
Well, I hope you'll have a chance to tune in tonight. The Faust production is going to become available at 7 p.m. on YouTube for viewers, and it's going to stay available for the entire week. So you've got a week to encourage your friends to, check it out and see you as Mephistopheles in our Faust.
Great. Yeah, I'm
And
gonna post this on all my social media.
awesome. Well, I have just a few minutes left of the show, but I want to thank you for coming on tonight, and we're going to wave farewell for the moment to Branch Fields. Thank you, Branch, for being with us tonight. Stay
Thank
safe
you.
and healthy.
You too. Take care, you all. Great to see you again.
So we're just about done. I do want to make a few announcements. St. Pete Opera has a virtual gala coming up on Saturday night, May 23rd. Normally, we would have done our annual fundraising gala in May. It was supposed to be on May 8th. And with everything that happened with COVID-19, we're not able to do that, but we still need your support. We are fighting to survive. We are calling Bella Voce this year Vincero, from the line in Nessun Dorma, Puccini, Vincero, Vincero. I will be victorious, because we believe that we will be victorious, that we're going to survive this difficult period for arts organizations, and we need your help. So I'm hoping that you will go online to stpetopera.org and register for the gala. For a $10 registration, you will get access to bidding on any silent auction items, live auction items, and technical help with how to attend the gala. And your $10 registration fee will be matched with an extra $40 by an anonymous donor up to the first 250 people who register. So let's make sure we maximize that generous anonymous donation by getting 250 people to register for the gala. Another option is a VIP dinner for two. Steve Westfall, his team is preparing dinners that night. It's $150. It's a dinner for two and bottle of wine delivered to your home. And there's details about that on the website as well. So since we are calling Bella Voce this year Vincero, and it comes from Nessun Dorma, and Sam Hall, who plays Faust in Faust, which is about to show tonight, sang Nessun Dorma on our Seasonal Sparkle program on 2017, I thought there couldn't be a more perfect way to end the show tonight than reliving Sam Hall's magnificent performance of Nessun Dorma. So I want to thank you all for joining me. I am Mark Sforzini for the St. Pete Opera Company, keeping our artists and our listeners in our heart. I hope to see you soon. Good night. All right, all you opera cats and Gattini Dolci, I thought we were done, but I messed that up. I did not have the sound correctly set for the start of that. So, if you got something else you need to do, you can run and go do it. But I'm going to play Sam's wonderful aria one more time, this time with the sound from the very beginning. The Faust production will still be there 5 minutes from now for you to start viewing. So I'm going to give Sam Hall one more listen for Nessun Dorma.